Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. I'm Bart, and today in this video, I'll be showing you how to install the TST Industries Brake Light Modulator on your bike. Now, a brake light modulator, sometimes called a strobe, sometimes called a brake light flasher, what it does is basically enables you to install some electronics on your bike so that when you press your brakes, the brake light flashes in some kind of pattern and alerts the drivers behind you that you will be stopping. Our particular brake light modulator comes pre-wired to a plug that interfaces with a sub-harness that we provide specific to your bike model that enables plug-and-play functionality with your bike. So that means that the installation is really fast and you can do it yourself. Now, the electronics inside, we do have the ability for you to program this unit to 3 different functions and then subsequently adjust the rate of the effect to your liking. Our first programmable mode is strobe alert. This mode will produce 9 flashes and then stay solid for the duration of the brake engagement. Second one is intermittent pulsar. Each cycle will flash 10 times and then pause, and then these cycles will repeat for the duration of the brake engagement. The last available option is pulsar, and this one just basically provides continuous flashing for the duration of the brake engagement. Now we'll show you how to install this. It's really simple. And then after the installation chunk, I will show you in detail how to get inside here, how to program the different modes, and how to alter the rate of those different modes. We did think about the safety of such devices during the design phase. So we decided to design this in a way that it will be a pass-through component. In case you experience a failure on board here, it will just pass through your normal brake function, which means you press your brake light lights up, there's just no effect. In case you do experience that failure, we do offer a warranty, so we have guys standing by in our support department that will take your call, email, Facebook message, whatever, and we'll get you replaced. And that's pretty much it. I'm really excited to show you guys just how easy this is to put on and configure. So let's get started. For this presentation, we got ourselves a bone stock Yamaha MT-10 22 and up. What we have here is a TST Industries Brake Light Modulator, vehicle specific harness for plug and play ability, and 2 wire ties that will help us install this guy and route the wires properly. First step will be the removal of the seat. Going to be using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver to remove these fasteners here. Once those come out, we can loosen this panel. If we pry with our fingers underneath, that unsnaps this little side clip, and then we need to push this towards the rear. There is a clip fastener that slides into here. So these are the snaps that come out of these windows, and then push it back, good to go. I'm gonna grab an 8mm socket and pull out these 2 fasteners here. Once those are out, we have a little bit more range here. I'm gonna pull out these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That enables me to ditch this seat latch. Now at this point, I will be moving down towards the front here a little bit. There's a 10mm head fastener here. I'm going to remove that. And now this panel here, I like to remove it because it affords me more access to the components that I'm going to need to manipulate here. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it just makes it a lot easier. So I have 3 push pins underneath. I'm going to remove them and then show you guys how they come out. So the smaller push pin goes in the rear underneath, goes into the light through the plastics, and the 2 larger ones are right about here. Once these are removed, this panel just comes off pretty freely. You just have to make sure that you clear this clip, this interference geometry clip, from the receiving one on the tail light. For that, you either rotate it and pull back or just pull straight back. Let's quickly touch on where these fasteners go. This way you guys are empowered to have success in this installation. This is where they are when they are locked. You have these buttons flush with the head to unlock these guys. Push them in with like a screwdriver or a pick, and then they release and you can take them out. Now with access all into this side of the bike, we will additionally remove these two fasteners using a 4mm Allen and another push fastener from under here that goes into the taillight. Then we're going to clear the taillight out and we're going to go to unplug the connector. Now it's important not to strain the interference geometry clip here, so I'm going to pry away, push forward on the taillight and pry it out, because this slides in towards the rear, so we have to push it forward to clear it out. Now let's grab ourselves a pick or a tiny flathead screwdriver, and we're going to unplug the connector here for the main taillight. It has 3 conductors in it, yellow, blue, and black. This is the guy here. I do have a lot of interference here. I'm going to take the signal connectors out of the frame. These connectors have these ramping ratchet features that clip into this window. If you push it in, it unclips, and that's the means of removal. Do have to do one at a time though. One clip on one side, push it through, and then the other clip, and then the whole thing comes out. I like to remove the wiring from the routing guides here in the sub tray. As you can see, they have captive routes for wires everywhere. This will enable us to have nice access to our taillight connector here. All right, this taillight connector has a tab that locks it in place. This is the tab here. This is the window that the lock goes into. So when we press on this tab, that enables us to unlock and withdraw the male plug, like so. Let's put this to the side. Now we will have to unclip this female connector here from the sub tray. This is clipped in. It does have similar wingy type features that go through a slot, expand, and keep it in place. So you can actually pry up on this sub tray assembly a little bit, enough so that we have access here. All this wiring goes out of the way, and get under here and either use a flathead or a pick. Same concept, get one side through and then work on the other side. So here are those wing ratchet features. You need to compress them and get them out. All right, so our main taillight connector on the harness will be going forward here, and we'll be working on it here subsequently. Let's redo some of these routes here, how we had them. All right, all this wiring looks good now. Everything's tucked out of the way. Won't run the risk of the actual latch hitting them. All right, here we go. We have the main harness connector going here. We will be putting the taillight back in. If you remember, when we took it off, the wiring came to the left of the bike and then out here. I'm going to swap that around and route it this way. And now we will carefully reinstall this tab here on the taillight. Make sure that it engages. Now we can go ahead and get these screws back in. I just like to get them started by hand. I'll tighten them later. Additionally, I will get my push fastener in from the bottom. All right. Now we are at the point where we can start connecting our vehicle-specific brake light modulator harness. What I like to do here is undo the servo strap. We will run the wire under it here. The taillight connector can only fit in one of these connectors on our harness, so that's pretty self-explanatory. We are going to use this strap as a route. All right. Our modulator gets plugged into the 4-conductor connector, and the other side goes to the taillight. All right, it's looking pretty good here. Now, we've designed in this little channel here for the purpose of using a wire tie in there to tie this off to something. Before you tie it off, watch to the end of this video. The last segment of this video shows you how to remove the cap, program the modulator, alter the speeds of effect. That way you don't have to cut the strap after installation to get in there. As you can see here, I'm pointing the wires down. We do have a rubber grommet protecting the wiring and circuit inside from water penetration, but gravity pulls water down. I like to have a secondary measure of making sure that water doesn't go up in there, so I always point the harness down. Here on this side, you have this wiring loom for the servo, and then you also have these cables that the servo uses to actuate the flapper valve on the exhaust. I like to just go around wiring and not constrict those cables at all. Gonna engage this guy and make sure that we have the strap in the location where this channel is, and that way it won't be slipping around anywhere. There we go. We can use the second strap that is provided to tie off this connector here. Let's see, what else can we do to route this? This connector here gives us a little bit of space underneath it to route the other wires from this connector. This is all looking pretty good. I'm going to tie off the rest of this loom here. I think I'm gonna tie off an additional portion of this wiring here with this strap, make it neater yet. Okay, now we have really nice wire bulk distribution, nothing is flopping around, and we are good to go here. I'm gonna go ahead and snip off the rest of this protruding wire tie. And now at this point, I'm going to test the system, make sure I actually have functionality. All right, we're looking good. Now I'm going to go in the reverse order of disassembly, and then we'll be done. Before I move forward of this step, I like to test the latch, make sure that I didn't block it. It's operating, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get this side panel on. Remember to engage that clip in the back first. This panel, we need to engage the rear lock, sliding lock first. Once that locates properly and there's no gap between the panel and the taillight, we can snap these side snaps in and replace the fasteners. For mode selection and rate adjustment, we will need to get inside this capsule to access the electronics. These two Phillips head screws will need to be removed. What I like to do is unscrew them until they disengage from their receiving threads and leave them in the cap. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to lose them. If we pull them off with the cap, they are self-captive. All right, now we'll identify the parts here. This button is the mode selector, and this potentiometer is your rate adjuster. Clockwise is faster, counterclockwise is slower. Let's first do our selection of modes. With the brake pressed, press the button once to toggle to the next available program. Now the brake does have to be pressed so that the unit powers up, otherwise you won't be able to make the selection. If you find that you've pressed the button but the selection has not been changed, just do it again with the brake pressed. So now we will go on to the next program, press the brake once more, press the button once, and now you're in the next mode. Now we've switched twice, so pressing it one more time will return to the original mode that your unit arrived in. Now for rate adjustment, we'll be using the potentiometer. With the brake pressed, we can turn it clockwise to make it go faster, counterclockwise to decrease the rate. Now in brake alert, you will only have 9 flashes to make your adjustment, and then it'll stay solid. This one doesn't actually lend itself to really fast flashing at the top of the range. Bottom of the range is unusable, so I like to set it somewhere towards 3/4 to maybe 80% clockwise, and that does it for me. Now if we change to the next one, this one is pulsar, and this one just keeps on flashing, so I like to have it going pretty fast here. Choice is really up to you. If you want to explore the next mode, we have the intermittent pulsar. This one to me belongs somewhere close to the top of the range, makes it the most visible. But again, freedom means choice. The decision is ultimately up to you. Once you're done with your adjustment and you're where you want to be with all your modes and rates, replace the cap, turn the screws back in, and it really is just that simple. Replace your brake light modulator in the space that you decided to keep it, and you're good to go.